awesome, guys. I really recommend you actually pick up this book and grab a copy. There was a link earlier, and hopefully you guys have yours. There's some awesome stories here about some amazing people like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Helen Keller, Edison, Charles Dickens. It all talks about how at a fundamental level they started lives very basically just like everyone else, but because they set up their goals and they created a desire, a burning passion to get something out of their life, something greater than where they currently were, they were able to really create just insane results in the marketplace, which is amazing. And he talks more about how their stories were based sometimes more off love, sometimes based off life changes, sometimes based off massive shifts in their psychology. But once they had a shift, once they made their secret formula, they were off to the races and they were crushing it. There's a really good example with Arnold. He followed, his goals, and then after he fulfilled his goals, he went on to create more goals and create more goals. So, if we go over to the computer, we can look a little more at his journey and understand how you can apply that. And then there's an amazing story principle I want to share with you too. So with Arnold, he starts off as a kid and he just wants to go win a weightlifting competition. So what he does is he just aligns his actions with his goals, right? And he decides, look, if I want to win a weightlifting competition, I gotta get swole. So he goes to the gym and he just gets swole, which is super cool, big biceps. So after that, he has insane success. He becomes Muscle Man, Mr. Universe, and he wins, he does it. And that's really cool. But then, he wants to go out and do more. So he came to the U.S. from Austria, which is awesome. And even though he accomplished a whole just an insane amount, he didn't feel challenged. He wanted to move up and fulfill his full potential. So he wrote a book about weightlifting, which was awesome. And then he started teaching courses, which is even better. And then his next goal, he wanted to be a movie star. So he takes, what he had, and he said, look, I'm going to go to a whole nother level of success. He goes up and he's been teaching people, he's been informing people, and he's been showing people results. He's doing amazing stuff. He says, look, I want to go to this new sector of my life. He goes out and he becomes a movie star. And remember, when he was doing this, he was not going to take a bad position. He declined small roles because he knew that he was going to be huge. And he was told by so many people he was way too big to be on a movie, way too big to be on TV. He was just an insane monster. But it worked perfectly for Terminator. It worked amazing for Conan the Barbarian. Just amazing series of action films that made him a movie star. So he went out there and he did it. He did it by sticking to his principles, right? When he was writing his courses or his book, it was all about, his weightlifting. It wasn't about just new fads or diet fads, stuff like that. And that's why he had to stay true to himself, and he did an amazing job. But he was never complacent, right? Not complacent. He goes on from there to go and be, he's insanely successful, but he wants to serve his community, right? So then he does nonprofit work to help kids, and eventually, he's the governor of California. And he goes through this whole sequence, all to fulfill his full potential, all to keep going and keep pushing and keep driving to that greater future that he wants for himself, because he realizes that, he can do it. He knows that he has this huge potential. And so because of that, he just keeps pushing and pushing, and he has these levels of goals. So like his level 1 goal was to win this weightlifting competition. Then he wrote a book. Then he wrote a course. Then he wrote, he's a movie star, nonprofit work. And, you know, I don't personally know Arnold, which is a shame, yet. But, you know, you have to remember along the way, you decide what your overarching long-term goal is. So for him, his overarching long-term goal could have been each of these individual things, and then over time, he just created new ones. Or maybe his overarching long-term goal was to be a movie star, and he decided that to get there, he would become popular in these spaces first. So it just depends on where you want to be, but you have to remember that there's always different options, there's always different steps in the sequence, and you can have a book along the way, you can have courses along the way, you can have competitions along the way. It just depends on your plan, and those can be your goals at first, right? If you just want to really write that book, and you are so passionate about because of what you've done in the past, maybe his long-term goal at the beginning was to influence and inspire many people to take control of their lives and their fitness. And that's what led him to make his courses. So it just all depends on you. And then it's important to remember that you can always springboard off your goals once you meet your deadline. So if he had a deadline and he met it, now he can create new goals because he accomplished his past and he did what he wanted to. So it's really powerful because it just lets you keep growing. It lets you keep creating long-term goals. And it lets you fulfill your highest and best potential. And that's really powerful. Because it shows that you are in control of your life. You are in control of yourself. It's all about your mastery of yourself. And you use that to create an insane level of growth in your life, which is very powerful. With that said, you know, Hill talks about this desire and how you definitely want to focus on hope, faith, courage, and tolerance. You want these states of mind that are really going to bring you into a much more stable place where all of a sudden you are ready to accomplish your goals, to reap the rewards of your goals, to get that payout, to get everything done because you've put in the work here and you're ready to go and fulfill that potential and get it done, which is just awesome stuff. Now, there's one really amazing thing in this book right here, and it's something that I'm just going to read out for you guys because it's really powerful. It really shifted my paradigm a long time ago when I read it. So with that said, you know, there's a difference between wishing and being ready to receive something, and you have to have a total belief and conviction in what you're doing. And because of that, the state of mind has to be totally open, because once you open your mind, you can access a whole new range of opportunities and use those opportunities as a way to believe in yourself, as a way to achieve prosperity and abundance by demanding them from life rather than poverty. So with that said, I'm going to read this poem. I bargained with life for a penny, and life would pay me no more. However, I begged at evening when I counted my scanty store. For life is just employer. He gives you what you ask, but once you've set the wages, why you must bear the task. I worked for menials hire, only to learn dismayed that any wage I asked of life, life would have willingly paid. I mean, guys, that's really powerful stuff. This guy, he set his wages too low. He went to the marketplace and he asked for too little. Because of that, he was on this scale, he was all the way towards the bottom, when in reality he wanted to be up here. So, you know, maybe he's working a low paying job or something, and he realizes that, you know, he goes home after his 9 to 5 and he says, look, I'm not happy with where I'm at right now. And because of that, he you know, he's like, hey, why can't I get more money? He asks his boss for more money. Like, if you get a raise, you know, what are you gonna get, like 10-20% more, just a little bit more? But he really wants this huge paradigm shift to a whole bunch more. And what he has to do is he has to ask life for what he wants to get paid. He has to go through and find the work that gets him too much, right? That brings him to a state of abundance. And it all comes down to this idea that you can set your own worth, you can set your own value on an internal basis as long as you believe in it. So in this guy's head, right, really big head, he has his internal beliefs. And the cash that he brings in the marketplace is based on his actions or labor, right? It's all him, right? It's him. It's all based on his internal actions. It's all based on what he does to provide value to the marketplace. So to provide more value, if he can do that, then he can create the income that he wants in his life. He can get whatever he wants by setting his wages higher and working at that extent to output at that level. So it's just a fundamental shift in his actions and his long-term goals. And once he realizes, because what happened originally, right, was he decided that his goal was to get this low-paying job, when in reality he really wanted this really high income, right? And so set your goals in a way where your end goal, you're going to achieve exactly what you want. You're going to achieve more than you want. You're going to achieve complete abundance, rather than setting, there's just such a fundamental difference, right, between, if your goal is to, there's two different rights, right, like goal and goal. So if you want to achieve total wealth, right, like just unalienable wealth, wealth that doesn't disappear, complete freedom, or abundance, family happiness, whatever your long-term goals are, you have to have those on a totally separate level from your day-to-day, because those are huge asks, and those are things that are going to have a ton of work, ton of growth behind them, and you separate those from menial tasks, menial work, menial labor, stuff that you would bargain with life for a penny, right? Pay the electric bill, get your first job, start with benefits, stuff like that. You're thinking, you can't think too small. Like if these are your huge goals, then there's no growth there. There's nothing along the path. You want to have a path where, let me do this in blue just so it makes sense. You want to have a path where you have this huge growth curve, and at the end you actually get that long-term goal. And you want to have insane levels of growth along the way, that are just going to create tremendous results in your life. Now, if your end goal is something that is of very low monetary value, then all of a sudden you're just going to have cents on the dollar up this path, and you'll finally get to the end, and it's very small payoff. You want that end payoff to be very big, so that along the way there's tons of value at the end. The end is so valuable that you just can't help but accrue wealth along the way. You just can't help but create wealth along the way, because as you get there, you're working towards this goal that's huge. You want these huge goals, rather than these thinking small ideas, thinking small ideologies. Really good book to help you with this concept is Grant Cardone's how does he do it? I think he does like 10 and then the X is in red. 10X rule. 10X rule will help you expand your thinking and learn to really go out there and create surreal results that other people would think are impossible. 10X rule is a crazy cool book. Personally love it. It's changed my paradigm. It shifted my thinking about everything that I do, all the output I bring into the marketplace, and just an amazing piece of literature. I will link, this will be a link below. You guys definitely should grab a copy of the 10X rule. It'll help you get these goals to where they need to be, so where you can have extreme success in life rather than just a traditional average life. And I'll link my book reviews too for the 10x rule. And also Be Obsessed or Be Average, really, really good one. It relates to this too, also by Grant Cardone. Some of the basic mentalities and methodologies behind the 10x rule. You know, be obsessed or be average. Super, super important to make sure that you're getting exactly what you want out of life and you're pushing for a level of success that brings you to an obsession, to this point where now your end goal right here is so huge that you just can't help but get out there, excuse me, and crush it. Just can't help but take that whole next step into massive action and massive success that's going to grow you from the little person that you are right now, or wherever you're at right now, to this massive success. Because in the future, your goals are going to transform who you are, and they will radically shift you from any point currently to this massive figure in the future with total and complete success. It's really a powerful concept, and that's why, you know, you want to be 10x. You know, you want to get out there and you want to have these insane results that are so huge you couldn't imagine them before. And when you get there, that's when you're gonna have success. And then the 10x rule, they talk more about that, and also more about really scaling up your beliefs, scaling up your goals, so that along the way there's just no way to fail because you're striving so high. You're doing so much that it's just inconceivable that you wouldn't have success. So with that said, there is one more story in this area, and it's very powerful, and it's about this concept of setting high goals and then fulfilling those goals and creating the results that you want in the marketplace. So we will go through that, and then we will be done with this module, which is super exciting. So without further ado, Mary Kay Ash. Okay. Now Mary, she was the founder of Mary Kay Cosmetics, but originally she started working at a different company called Stanley Home Products 25 years ago from when this was written, so, you know, long time ago. And at the beginning, you know, she was on a commission based, probably, or some sales rep job where she got paid. You know, she had to sell product to be paid cash. It was kind of like Sell or Be Sold, right? Another really great book by Grant Cardone. Sell or Be Sold. She had to get out there and create results in the marketplace, or she would, you know, she would lose. She'd be done. If she listened to the stories that were out there and she didn't move product, you know, she would lose her job. Sell or Be Sold, another really good one by Grant. And I'll link the book reviews for all this stuff and all these resources below, because these are really powerful resources for expanding your mindset, and then also accruing more wealth through stronger sales and negotiating skills, which is mostly sales skills, which is really powerful, and persistence skills and mindset tools. The mindset stuff here is just insane, because it's going to level up your thinking, and it's going to bring you to this whole nother level of success with everything you do, where now you realize that there is so much abundance possible, and so much to do once you scale up, once you get out there and crush it, that you just have no choice but to succeed, which is very powerful. These are some amazing books. I can't recommend them enough. They're awesome. So with Mary, she was at this event at the end of the year, and they had this stage, and there was this audience, right? And Mary was in the audience. There were a bunch of chairs, people were just sitting everywhere. And she's sitting with all her coworkers, you know, thinking about how amazing this year was for a lot of them, and for her it was a little bit more of a struggle. She was having a tough time. But then she reported that she saw this tall, svet, successful, pretty woman. She came on stage, and she was standing there. You know, long, pretty woman hair. and she was being crowned the queen of the company contest, right? So she was getting this, she's the queen, she has this amazing queen crown, and you know, you got the company director alongside saying, oh, you're the best, congratulations, great job, for being the best saleswoman, the salesperson in the company, which was amazing, because she sold more than anyone else. And so Mary, she was in the crowd, and Mary said, oh my gosh, I can do this. She saw this one person that did it, and it gave her the belief that she could be on that stage next year getting that same award. So something really, really cool happened, right? She gets her crown, everyone's happy, president comes off the stage, he starts walking around and talking to people, and Mary gets up, she gets out of her seat, she goes over to the president, and we got Mary, she'll go over here, she says, she just starts walking over to the president, because the president came off, and he was just whee all the way over here, and Mary meets the president, and she says to him, she says, look, Mr. President, in 1 year, that'll be me. And this guy, he says something that changed her life. He didn't laugh at her, but he looked her in the eye. They held hands, and he said, somehow, I think you will. And all of a sudden, Mary had the belief. She had the dedication. She had the first step in achieving success. She firmly believed that she could do this because the president had an atmosphere of success, an image of excellence. He believed in her. Mr. Beveridge was his name, and because of this statement, he had so much of an impact on Mary and put so much belief in her head that the very next year, instead of someone else being on the stage, now all of a sudden this was actually Mary on stage as the queen saleswoman, top producer in the company, all because she envisioned her goal. She took action on her goal. She gave her goal a deadline. She put a reasoning behind her goal, and all she did was follow her action plan over and over and over and over. She sold. She sold. This is all the stuff Grant talks about in his book. And he also lays out some amazing ways, some fundamental tools, and then also some insane training to actually go out and create these results through sales and through prospecting, through corporate growth, to get more people in the door. Just really, really, really powerful books right there that have changed my life and the lives of so many people around me. It's awesome. So Mary combined that selling activity with this goal setting secret formula, and then she was on that stage. She actually did it. She crushed it, and now everyone else was looking at her. They were saying, wow, you know, because she was in the audience last year, and now she's up on stage as the super, super successful saleswoman. It was really, really, really powerful. It all comes down to belief. And once you have that belief, once you have that reason, once you have the personal dedication and the desire to make it happen, you can be right there. You can have that success too. And that's really, really, really powerful, powerful stuff. So hey guys, really amazing stuff here. I'll link those book reviews below and links to those books. They're really, really, really great works. And hey, take advantage of them. Leverage the years and years and years that other people have spent, you know, actually learning about and then therefore writing those books. It's really powerful because now you don't have to spend years and years and years of your life going through that same process and learning about all these amazing tools. this mindset shift. There's a ton of amazing reviews on him, so I'll link those below. And take advantage of them, grab a copy, get out there, use this information, crush it, and I'll see you guys in the next module. Thank you.